Whoever thought it was a good idea to slash nature in half? On March 7, 2025, an alarm is activated at the CERN control room for the Atlas detector. One out of billions of collisions shows a pattern that should not exist. The universe is whispering to us shouts in opposition to the laws of physics. There was no error causing this. This was real. Additionally, when Brian Cox found out, his reaction was one of profound caution. It seems that his urgent warning, that this discovery, also known as the 3I Atlas event, is more than just a scientific breakthrough. If these have a lot of energy collisions, then we can make new incredibly massive particles, a lot more expansive. It could open Pandora's box, and the lid is now fully open. We may have found something that will change everything we know about our world. The 5 Sigma anomaly. Deep beneath the border of France and Switzerland, a monstrosity sleeps. It's a 17-mile superconducting magnet ring, the largest and most complex machine humanity has ever conceived, the Large Hadron Collider. In the basement, inside a cavern the size of a cathedral, sits its heart, a 7,000-ton detector named Atlas. For years, its purpose has been simple: to hear the sounds of creation by condensing protons into one mass at 99.99% of the speed of light. However, one day it heard something impossible. Basically, for every 1 billion collisions that happen inside that machine, only a handful are interesting enough to even record. Scientists are looking for tiny deviations, small clues that point to new science. However, the 3I Atlas event lacked any clue. It was a massive flare. On March 7, 2025, the sensors lit up with a signature that made no sense. The data showed 3 specific particles called leptons flying out from the point of collision, accompanied by a puzzling gap, a presence of missing energy that pointed in the right direction. Something invisible had escaped, something that passed through the entire 7,000-ton detector as if it were a ghost. Not only this was atypical, but the real surprise was the combined energy of the event. It registered at a colossal 3.1 tera-electron volts. This, to put it mildly, was unprecedented. In the world of particle physics, a discovery is only taken into account as real if it reaches a 5 sigma level of certainty. This is the gold standard. A 5 sigma event means there's less than 1 in 3.5 million chances that the signal was just a fluke of chance. The Atlas anomaly did not stop at 5 sigma. It sailed past it. This was as real as the ground beneath our feet. The control room entered a state of regulated chaos. Scientists and physicists immediately began a frantic procedure for checking. Was it a hardware issue? A flaw in software? A cosmic ray from a distant supernova fooling the sensors? Teams pored over every piece of data. They ran diagnostics, checked every one of the 100 million electronic channels, and compared everything to every known physics. They simulated the event repeatedly in an effort to locate a conventional justification. But every test yielded the same terrifying conclusion. The apparatus was working perfectly. The signal was real. What many people initially overlooked was the sheer impossibility of their observations. The conventional theory of particle physics, the theory that has been proved correct for 50 years and has described our universe, has no explanation for this event. It's a theory with no room for ghosts. Yet here was undeniable proof of something brand new, something unrelated to our realm of comprehension. It was a crack, a signal in the foundation of reality from a location that, to the best of our knowledge of science, shouldn't even exist. The discovery was confirmed. The facts were irrefutable, and a quiet fear started to creep in. The thing is, they had found something new, but they had no idea what it was. What they found was not just a brand new particle, but a brand new mystery. The terrifying prediction of Cox. The 3I event spread throughout the physics community like wildfire. But the reaction wasn't one of pure celebration. Instead, there came a deep sense of unease, and it was expressed publicly by one of the most trusted faces in science. Professor Brian Cox, who is well known for his ability to explain the universe with a sense of wonder. This time his tone was starkly different. He called for an immediate warning, stating that this discovery could alter everything we believe to be true about the world itself. This wasn't the excitement of a scientist on the verge of a breakthrough. This was a warning from a man staring into an abyss. Cox, along with other luminaries like Michio Kaku, highlighted the unprecedented nature of the finding. His warning wasn't about the science itself, but about its implications. Are we, as a species, ready to handle the understanding of what might lie beyond our perception of reality. Many people are crazy about the idea of new discoveries, but you won't hear anyone tell you that some knowledge can be risky. We could be, as Cox suggested, like kids playing with matches from space. This warning triggered a theoretical gold rush. Thousands of physicists turned their attention from what they were doing to the Atlas anomaly. Wild new theories began appearing in papers online almost overnight. What could explain this implausible signal? One of the leading ideas was a revival of something called supersymmetry. This is the theory that every particle we are aware of conceals a super heavier partner. Although it is an elegant concept, decades of CERN searches had yielded nothing until now. Could the 3I event be the first glimpse of this hidden world of superparticles? But not all things are as they appear, and other, more strange theories surfaced. Others suggested the signal was evidence of a dark photon. This would not only be a brand new particle, it would be a carrier of force for a hidden dimension, a secret universe that coexists with our own. In this scenario, the Large Hadron Collider uncovered more than just a particle. It may have briefly opened a small window into a dark sector of reality. The missing energy would be the sign of something resurfacing through that window before we were able to see it. It's a mind-bending concept that turns science fiction into a terrifying possibility. The theories got even stranger. Extraspatial dimensions, complex models of dark matter, new fundamental forces. Nothing was off the table. The 3I Atlas event had upended the standard model so thoroughly that no explanation, however wild, was suddenly plausible. This is the fundamental warning from Brian Cox. When you break your map of reality, you are suddenly lost in a new and unknown territory, and there might be dragons in that unfamiliar territory. The scientific community was facing its most severe crisis in a century, staring at a single data point that posed a risk of unraveling everything. Now, the greatest minds on Earth were rushing to determine whether they'd made a discovery or a mistake when the code bleeds through. Just when the world's physicists were gaining an understanding of the possibility of hidden dimensions or a shadow universe, a significantly more terrifying theory began to bubble up from the fringes of the scientific community. It was the one idea so profound, so deeply troubling, that nobody initially desired to speak it aloud. What if the signal from Atlas wasn't a particle from a different dimension, but a message from our own error? Imagine our entire reality. Every star, every planet, every individual is nothing more than an incredibly advanced computer simulation? What no one ever tells you concerning the simulation hypothesis is that it's not just a game of philosophy. It has testable predictions. A simulated universe has its limits. For instance, there would be a fundamental pixel size to reality, a smallest possible unit of space and time, which physicists call the Planck length. The laws of physics themselves wouldn't be laws at all, but lines of code in a vast program. And just like any computer program, it could have bugs or perhaps features the programmers never intended for our viewing. Crazy people abound about this idea, and the 3I Atlas event corresponds to the definition of a glitch almost perfectly. Take a look at it. The message was extremely clean and almost synthetic. It once showed up with an odd and specific energy signature, and then vanished without a trace, despite numerous attempts to replicate it. In terms of simulation, this appears less like a natural phenomenon and more like a computational hiccup. The trio of leptons and the missing energy is possibly the result of an error in rounding in the universe's code, a fleeting moment when the hardware in the simulation couldn't keep up and produced a nonsensical result. To put it mildly, the implications are staggering. If we reside in a simulation, then who or what is running it? Are they appreciative programmers? Or are we just part of a cosmic experiment, a virtual ant farm for higher intelligence? Brian Cox's warning about changing the course of reality takes on a terrifying new meaning. A discovery like this isn't just about discovering that the universe is a program. It has to do with the program becoming aware of us. It's possible that we sent a ping to the system administrators, letting them know that the characters in their strategy are beginning to emerge from the rules. What else do programmers do when they discover a flaw that could cause a crash to the entire system? They frequently patch it by removing the problematic code. This theoretically, we found more than just a crack in reality. We found a crack in our very own cage, a message that has traveled through time. As if the simulation theory wasn't enough to cause sleepless nights, another equally mind-bending explanation for the 3I Atlas event began to gain momentum. This one doesn't come from computer science, but rather from the most bizarre areas of theoretical physics. What if there was no signal particle or a glitch from a programmer in a different dimension? Imagine it was a message deliberately sent to us from our future? You see, there are some interpretations of quantum mechanics and general relativity, where time might not be the straight one-way street we experience it as. Under severe conditions, it may be possible to send information back in time. This concept, known as retrocausality, is extremely speculative but not impossible. The hypothesis holds that the future could influence the past. Many people overlook this, but if a future civilization, perhaps our own descendants, needed to send a message to the past, they wouldn't use radio waves. They would use the basic language of the universe, particle physics. Here's where things get really strange. A message from the future would have to be engineered to be unmistakable, to stand out from the noise of the natural surroundings of the cosmos. The sender would need to create an event that reflects this specific unnatural signature, that it simply could not possibly be a fluke. An event similar to the 3I atlas, that unique 3-lepton signature, that precise energy level of 3.1 tera-electron volts. It might not be random at all. It could be a key, a kind of information contained in a cosmic zip file. The missing energy would not be a particle escaping, but the thermodynamic cost of sending and ignoring causality, a whisper back through the ages. If this is true, then the Large Hadron Collider was not a research study. It served as a receiver, perfectly tuned to an appointment it didn't know it had. We might be in a race against time to decode a message we have already received. What would it say? It might be an alert about a cosmic catastrophe, a future self-inflicted disaster that our descendants are attempting to help us avoid. Alternately, it could be a technological gift, a blueprint, the key to a sustainable energy source or the answer to a disease. We built the world's biggest machine to ask the universe its biggest questions, and it's possible that the universe responded with a message from our own children, begging us to listen. The greatest mystery is no longer what the signal is, but what it's trying to tell us. The fallout from the Atlas discovery has moved beyond theoretical physics and is now forcing a difficult discussion regarding the human species' future with knowledge. To put it mildly, we've entered a new era. For the first time, there's serious talk at the highest levels, including the United Nations, about whether there should be global oversight for certain kinds of experiments. Chilling is the central question. Are there some doors in the universe that should not be opened? This goes beyond academic discourse. It is a representation of lessons from history that were hard to learn. When nuclear power was first discovered by scientists, it resulted in clean energy, but it also gave us the power to destroy ourselves. Some people see the 3I Atlas event as a similar watershed moment, but possibly having far greater repercussions. Not only are we opening up a brand new source of energy, it's possible that we've altered the very fabric of space-time. We are standing at the edge of the greatest discovery in human history, one that might change our reality. What do you think the 3I Atlas event was? A gate leading to another world, or is it a warning to stop digging? Let us know in the comments. Also, don't forget to subscribe and like for more responses to the most pressing questions and mysteries.